Good evening. I now have 6 p.m. on October the 2nd, and I will call this meeting of the City of College Station Planning and Zoning Commission to order. If everyone will rise with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here this evening. We will continue on with the agenda. Item number 2 is Hear Visitors. At this time, we will open up the floor to anyone wishing to address the commission on issues not already scheduled on tonight's agenda. The secretary has let us know that no one has signed up. Is there anyone that would like to step forward? Seeing no one, we will move on to agenda item 3, the consent agenda. The only thing that we have on there is our minutes from September the 18th. Do we need to take that out, or do we have a motion to approve?
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank y'all very much. Since we did not remove anything, we will move on to our regular agenda. Item 5.1, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding a waiver request to the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 8.3.G.2.a, blocks and presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding a preliminary plan for Culpeper at TAMU subdivision on approximately 10.84 acres of land generally located at the intersection of College Avenue and University Drive, specifically on the west side of University Drive. Mr. Howell.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Jeff Howell with the Planning and Development Services Department. Tonight's request is for a preliminary plan consisting of 3 lots, which are intended for a mixed-use development located in the Northgate Design District on approximately 10.84 acres of land. As you can see from the aerial, the property is generally located at the intersection of College Avenue and University Drive. However, a portion of this property is currently under development right now. The original preliminary plan was approved in October of 2024, which included waivers as well. This revised preliminary plan includes the addition of 1 lot, updated phasing, and the modification of a location of the public way. The preliminary plan is before you this evening because the applicant is requesting an additional waiver to the subdivision regulations. The waiver that's being brought forward this evening is regarding block length. Per the requirements of the UDO, block length shall not exceed 660 feet for the urban core context zone. The request is for an increase in block length, which in this case extends along Legacy Point Drive. As indicated in the graphic, the block length on Legacy Point Drive is 885.90 feet, as shown in the pink line. This extends along Legacy Point Drive and Church Avenue between Spirit Drive and University Drive. While a similar request was previously approved for Culpeper Drive, due to the updated location of the public way, the waiver to block length is being requested again. The applicant states that due to special circumstances, the continuation of Culpeper Drive is not feasible due to the requirements of a public way, as well as the eventual underpass between the 2 existing developments. And it has been indicated that this would cause a disruption in existing and future development. As a reminder, there are 4 criteria the Commission needs to consider when reviewing the waiver requests. 1, that there is a special circumstance or condition affecting the land involved. 2, the waiver is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right of the applicant. 3, the granting of the waiver will not be detrimental to the health, safety, and general welfare of the property in the area. And then 4, the granting of the waiver will not have the effect of preventing orderly subdivision in the other land within the area. In reviewing the preliminary plan, the proposed development is providing access through the property within public access easements to provide for future accessibility. A public way is being provided, which is Spirit Drive, as part of the development that is to be privately maintained and provide additional connectivity. As part of the preliminary plan, 3 public ways, Culpeper Drive, Legacy Point Drive, and Spirit Drive, extend through the property and are uniquely configured. The other abutting roadways to this development are TxDOT roadways, as well as a portion of Church Avenue, and connection to these roadways are being provided. And so with that, staff is recommending approval of the waiver and the preliminary plan. And just as a reminder, if the preliminary plan is approved, if the waivers are approved, then the preliminary plan must also be approved. And if the waiver is denied, then the preliminary plan is also denied. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Before we move on to the applicant, any questions for Mr. Howell? Can you go back to the map real quick?
And I do have the slides of the entire preliminary plan if you do need to see it.
If no one has any questions, did the applicant have a presentation, or were they just here for any questions that we have?
Yeah, they're just here for any questions. They did not have a presentation.
Any questions for the applicant? This is scheduled for a public hearing. We will now open the public hearing. The secretary has let me know that no one has asked to speak. Is there anyone that would like to step forward to speak on this item? Seeing no one, we will close the public hearing, and I will move to the will of the commission.
I move approval.
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on this?
I assume transportation has gone through all the issues in relationship to access from the different major thoroughfares leading into that area.
Yes, yeah, this is a public waste will still go through. It's just in a different location that slightly exceeds the maximum, and staff is supportive of that.
Thank you.
I did just have one other question for Jeff, and it's really just kind of from my own benefit. So why is that, like, why is this coming before us now, even though construction's already begun?
Right, so, and I do have, like I said, the preliminary plan here that I can show you. So the preliminary plan did come before you all last year.
Right.
And so the property that you can see crosshatched on the left has already been subdivided and building permits have already been issued, but because the preliminary plan is inclusive of that, that's why you can see it crosshatched, because it's within the same boundary, plus the public ways are part of it as well. So that's why it's coming before you. But the new public way can be seen better here, which is Spirit Drive towards the top portion of the right-hand side of this slide,
Okay.
as well as the other public access easements.
Like I said, that was just an informative question for me. We have a motion and a second. Again, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Howell. We will move on to 5.2, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding a waiver request to the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 8.4.E.1, Blocks and Unified Development Ordinance, Section 8.4.C.3.a, street projection, and presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding a preliminary plan for Bertram Grove subdivision on approximately 50 acres of land generally located along Reuter Road. Mr. Schramm.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. Gabriel Schrum, Planning and Development Services. This evening's request is related to a preliminary plan application we've received for an approximately 42-acre development of property right outside city limits, but within the ETJ. This property is generally located southeast of the intersection of Reuter Road and Green Prairie Road, right at the city limits line. The developer is proposing 30 single-family lots and 5 common areas. The land within close proximity to this property include a detached single-family subdivision to the northwest, Greens Prairie Elementary across Reuter Road to the west, and residential lots neighboring the property to the east and south. The first of the 2 waivers for this proposed subdivision tonight can be seen here at the bolded green line. This is a waiver to UDO Section 8.4E1, blocks for the blocked length along Smalls Creek Road from Reuter Road up to the northeastern intersection where that circle is located. The requirement for block length in rural context zones shall not exceed 1,500 feet. For this road in block length, it would sit at approximately 1,650. The second waiver for the subdivision is to street projections per UDO Section 84C3 lower A. This section requires for a public street to be provided internal to the platting property to adjoined areas that are not platted at intervals no fewer than the maximum block length. The subject street projection waiver in this case would be to the northeastern tract from the intersection of Wild Creek Road and Smalls Creek Road, which can be seen here in that blue dashed line that goes from the bottom up to that top circle. The applicant has provided that they request in these waivers as there's a creek with associated floodplain on the rear of the lots along Block 3, so there's those 6 lots back there. This will help protect the rights of the neighbors to the northeast, as they will not have a burden to their property with having a significant drainage structure if they choose to develop in the future. The applicant is also providing multiple access points through the property and has provided a drainage study for the creek area in the back that necessitates these waiver requests. In accordance with the subdivision regulations, when considering a waiver or waivers in this case, the Planning and Zoning Commission should make the following findings to approve the waiver. First one being that there are special circumstances or conditions that are affecting the land involved, that the waivers are necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of substantial property right of the applicant, that the granting of the waiver will not be detrimental to the public health, safety, or welfare, or injurious to other properties in the area, or the city in administering this chapter. And then finally, that the granting of the waivers will not have the effect of preventing the orderly subdivision of other land in the area and in accordance with the provisions of this chapter. To conclude my presentation, staff is recommending approval of these two waiver requests on the preliminary plan for maximum block length and for street projections. I have not received any phone calls or emails about this request, and the applicant is here to answer any questions, and I am as well.
Any questions? Can you go back to the map again?
Yeah.
So for the green line, basically, I mean, we're going from, the normal block length would be 1,500, and they're asking for 1,650, but that's basically because of the area included, correct?
Yeah, there's some physical constraints, and I'll show you where that creek is in the back there along those lots as well. And if Philip would like to kind of go into some of those pieces of involved with it, he can, but yeah, ultimately that is the request.
Okay, no questions for Mr. Shrum? And did the applicant have a presentation, or were they just available for questions?
They're just available for questions. I
Did
believe.
anybody have any questions for the applicant? Yeah. Thank you very much. This is not scheduled for a public hearing, so I will move to the will of the commission.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes. Thank you, Mr. Shrum. We will move on to 5.3, public hearing, presentation, discussion, and possible action regarding an ordinance amending Appendix A of the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Zoning Districts, Section 4.2, Official Zoning Map of the Code of Ordinances for the City of College Station, Texas, by changing the zoning district boundary from GC General Commercial to MF Multifamily for approximately 4.71 acres, generally located on the intersection of University Drive East and East Crest Drive. Mr. Howell's back.
Thank you. Good evening again, Chair and members of the Commission. Jeff Howell with the Planning and Development Services Department. Tonight's request is to rezone 4.71 acres of property generally located south of the intersection of University Drive East and East Crest Drive from GC General Commercial to MF Multifamily. As you can see from the aerial, the subject property is a portion of a larger unplatted property and is currently vacant. The comprehensive plan future land use map designates this area partially as general commercial. A portion of the subject property was also recently designated as urban residential. For the urban residential land use designation, the comprehensive plan indicates that these areas are appropriate for a range of high-density multifamily development and attached residential development in various forms. You will notice that this property is split by the future land use designation. This property is very large and has not been subdivided yet. The future land use designation is more fluid, generally flexible, and is not parcel-based. City Council approved the change to urban residential in August. While this rezoning request is beyond the limits of that modification, it's still in line with the comprehensive plan and is okay in comparison as it is seen as an extension of the adjacent designation. And so tonight's request is to rezone the property currently designated as GC General Commercial to MF Multifamily. The applicant is requesting the MF Multifamily zoning district for a proposed multifamily development, which would not be permitted under the General Commercial zoning district. This request is an expansion to the recent rezoning request that was approved in August. This zoning request is in an effort to provide additional housing and residential development in the area. Staff has not received any communication in support or opposition to this request. However, we did receive 2 phone calls of inquiry. And so with that, staff is recommending approval of the rezoning request with the following condition. I won't read the entire condition word for word, but this is for a 10-foot landscape buffer with an 8-foot fence adjacent to the properties to the west to be provided on the subject property at the time of site development. And since this is a request for an expansion to the recent rezoning that was approved, this same condition is being recommended here, and this item will be heard at the October 9th City Council meeting. And that concludes my presentation, and the applicant is here as well, and they do have a presentation as well.
One quick question for me from the very beginning, realizing that we're going back to our panhandle discussion from a couple weeks ago. Are both the adjacent property owner and the developer, are they in line with this now?
Yes, this condition is the same condition that was provided as part of that panhandle discussion. And so the only modification to that is now it does include the adjacent property, because as you can see at the very corner, it is abutting an additional property. And so that's why it's inclusive of not just lot 1, but it also lot 4 as well.
But basically the Adams Group is okay with this as well, because they had a very large problem with it before.
Right, that discussion happened during
After.
that city council meeting.
Yeah.
And so.
Just making sure everybody's still in line as they were before.
If anything has changed, then, I mean, the applicant can speak to that, but, yeah, this is the same condition, so it's following that same
Any
logic.
other questions? Yep. And you said the applicant is here?
Yes, they are, and I
If
believe they
they
have a
could
presentation.
step forward.
Good evening, Commission. Chrissy Hartle with Mitchell & Morgan at 3204 Earl Rudder Freeway South. Jeff gave you a good summary of the project up to this point, but I wanted to add a couple more points, especially to that panhandle piece. As Jeff stated, this request was originally presented to you in July as a part of a larger rezoning request to rezone multiple tracts of land to multifamily and townhome in Summit Crossing. At that meeting, we informed the P&Z that a meeting had been scheduled with the adjacent property owner to discuss their concerns regarding access, buffers, and land use adjacency and compatibility. Our client did meet with the representatives of the Adam Corporation and agreed that this development would reconfigure the panhandle piece, as it's commonly known, in blue, and reconfigure it to what you see on the neighboring slide in green. They would also provide a 10-foot planted buffer on a portion of the shared property line and construct an 8-foot wood board fence, which is indicated in that yellow dashed line. This information was presented to the City Council and was accepted. The City Council approved a modified comprehensive plan amendment that would allow us to follow up with this rezoning that's before you this evening. That concludes our presentation. Open to any questions, any follow-up questions that we can offer information from those negotiation discussions, but this is a joint effort between this property owner and the adjacent property owner, and we worked very closely with staff to arrive at the request that's before you tonight.
Any questions?
I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time and the effort to pull the property owners together and have a conversation and come to a consensus that meets both. And I know it was quite challenging as it came to before us the first time, so I appreciate that effort. Thank you.
I'll echo that as well and say thank you, because I do know, like, basically y'all were working up to the 11th hour before the council meeting to even get that part done. And so I appreciate listening to what this commission had said before to work with the adjacent property owner to get a very good compromise. And I think this is something that we can all, or at least I believe we can all kind of agree with. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. Again, this is open for a public hearing. I will now open the public hearing. The secretary has let me know that no one has asked to speak. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and now move to the will of the commission.
I move approval.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, everybody in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And now that motion passes. Thank you again, Jeff. And again, thank you to everybody that worked on this. I know that was a lot of discussion, both by staff and by both property owners. So we like to see that type of work to get a great conclusion. We will move on to item 6.1 is the discussion of new development applications submitted to the city. Anybody have any questions over those? Continuing on, presentation discussion about recent updates heard. An ordinance amending Appendix A of the UDO Article 11 definitions was heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission on September 4th, and we voted 4-0, and council voted on September 11th to approve that one 7-0. And then another one amending Appendix A of the UDO for the general provisions, transitional provisions, development review procedures, as everybody can continue to read that. That one was passed by us also 4-0 on September the 4th and heard by council and approved 7-0 on September the 11th. 6.3, presentation and discussion of our upcoming calendar meetings. City Council is here October the 9th, next Thursday, and I will be in attendance for that. October the 16th, we will be meeting here at 6 p.m. October the 23rd, council meeting here, and then we are back here on November the 6th. No updates on Design Review Board and/or Bio Corridor. Any any discussion or possible future items that we need to hear? Seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.